I really wanted to like Tucker Carlson because he's sort of came in the situation where if you're even slightly right wing, you get banned. And he also has run afoul of even Fox News, who he was originally with, until he said things that they were like, "I knock it off." He was like, "No, I'm not." And Tucker Carlson is one of those people that can just leave, bring a lot of people with him, and make effectively his own podcast. And again, it was kind of a breath of fresh air because, again, we on the internet, we knew that if you were, Democrat or left wing, you could say like whatever unhinged shit you want. This was like the Jack Dorsey era of Twitter. You could say whatever unhinged shit you wanted, and you're fine. But if you're a right winger, and I don't know, you showed off your gun collection, or if you have like a meme of Elmer Fudd shooting Bugs Bunny, you'd get banned. Like, we don't gotta pretend this wasn't something that happened. And Tucker Carlson was just sort of that beacon. Him and Ben Shapiro, but we know what happened with Ben Shapiro eventually. And I'm starting to think Tucker Carlson is kind of also going down that rabbit hole where maybe he's not taking money from specific campaigners or from specific groups. He probably is, but assuming he's not, but he's definitely surrounded himself with the gaggle of weirdos. Like, I watched one thing talking about how apparently he was attacked by a demon in his bed. I'm like, wait a minute, what? But that's a video for another day. Let's talk about what someone's talked to me about. Is this gets kind of crazy towards the end. I haven't watched this, but from what was described to me, he talks about usury. Now, in the Bible, usury is a sin, and okay, what is usury? It's taking money to make more money, right? Putting money into something, or loaning money to someone else and demanding it back plus interest, or putting it in a bank and getting interest off it. That's usury, and then according to the Bible, that's a sin. I mean, it is. If you have an account and you're gaining some percentage off of it, according to the Old Testament, according to what's in the Bible, that's a sin. Now, maybe a lot of Christians kind of bend that rule or bend that idea. Maybe it's not really a sin, or it's something that's sort of like, okay, so on the hierarchy of sins, that's kind of lower. Like, you cannot function in like a first world nation without doing that, because there's so many things taking money from you nowadays, like taxes and all that, and the increased prices of utilities. But God forbid something gives you just like a couple of pennies in return, like a penny on the $50 you have. But he's going to talk about this, and okay, yeah, let's watch this till the end. Yeah, how can it? Like, okay, you're free, right? But you're indebted to someone. I agree. How is that possible? Because if you're indebted to someone, they pretty much own you, right? This was the idea of slavery in Africa before, the slave trade. Like, if you were indebted to someone for whatever reason, right? Maybe their tribe beat yours, or maybe you wronged someone, or they effectively owned you, right? So it's like, yeah, how can you be free but in debt? Like, there's, even in the modern day, so many people have student loan debt and all of that. And it's like, well, how can you have all that and be free? It's like, well, functionally you're not. Because what happens if you don't pay your mortgage? What happens when you don't pay your student loan debt? What happens if you don't pay these things? The government will butt fuck you. That's what will happen. Yeah. And I agree with this, right? I 100% agree. Even though I'm in debt, I get taxed. Yeah, I agree. You know, the person that you owe money to, or the corporation or company that you owe money to, owns you. And you'll be working in your entire life. Like for some student loan debt, like debts, like people will work their entire life to pay it off. You know, Well, we live in a first world nation. The system is, you take a lot of money out initially and you pay back little by little by little by little. That's the idea, and it works. I mean, so many people in student loan debt that they'll be paying off their entire life. It's a system that exists because it's a system people gladly go into. They gladly jump into taking the most amount of money out and paying it back little by little. Yeah, and see, that's why credit cards is just a game I would rather not play, because you have to get in credit card debt to pay it off, to build up your credit, to build up a credit history, to be eligible for even more credit that you then also have to pay off. That builds up more credit. Like, it's a game that I personally would rather not play. If I need something, I pay it with money, and if I don't need it, I just don't pay for it. You know, this might not be something that exists forever, but I'm not in a position where I need to do it. But people do. People do take credit cards. People are. It's a system you're groomed into in school, right? Like the idea that you can't be successful unless you have a college degree or any of that, it's false. Like, you cannot have a college degree and live and make decent money. You'll have to work harder, depending, right? But sure, you can do it. Some people, people do it. But it's a system where, again, you have to be put in debt in order to pay off that debt, in order to build up your debt history, in order to be eligible to take more debt and to pay off. Some people don't say, because it's like no one wants to. Like, let's be honest, a lot of like boomers and Christians either own businesses or have investments into these types of things. So why would they go after the very thing that's their money maker, right? Like, I get, hypocrisy, but I mean, people are more pragmatic than we like to think. Like, why would a boomer Christian that just wants to build up generational wealth go after the very thing? Like, so his kids and his grandkids don't have to work a day in their life. Why would he go after the very thing that makes him that generational wealth? I mean, that just be. I think that'd be dumb. I mean, I get it. Everyone will demand everybody else act irrational, but I'm like, dude, well, what are you doing? Yeah. Yeah. And in the medieval age, again, if you owed money to people, they did own you. They could make you do whatever they want. And that was enforced, I think between like village chieftains, with like the whole Izzat thing in the Middle East was enforced through like lords in Europe. I'm pretty sure China had a certain, like, there's this whole thing with like in the Middle East with like debtors and collectors and all that. I think China, they pretty much probably had a system like that. Like many major empires that existed had this system, and also systems of loans, because I mean, you have to take the risk. Okay, you're a nation and you're like, well, I don't want to take the risk, but okay, your neighbor does take risks and they conquer you or they conquer everyone else around you, and you're forced to capitulate to them because they have the power. Like, you can't have an empire in a first world nation without this, right? And it is avoidable in America because you're groomed into it. Like, the minute you take a mortgage, right? You can put a big down payment, but I mean, unless you're born into wealth, you're forced to take on that debt to have a roof over your head. Yeah. Well, you have no choice, right? I mean, the agreement I was told when I got my house was you own it while you pay, or if it's paid off, and when you stop, you don't. The bank's like, nah. They put the fucking kibosh on you, right? And why we accept this as a natural order? I mean, you do it, I do it. No one really talks against it. And again, it's a fairer system, right? I mean, a better system doesn't really exist unless you go out into the bumfuck of nowhere, build your own commune, and pray your neighbors don't want to fucking conquer you. Yeah, I mean, I guess it could work, but human beings are human beings, and people kind of want that, stable security that the system allegedly gives. Allegedly, quote unquote, you kind of gotta pray the system doesn't try to fuck you down the road. With inflation, with taxes on all that. Not particularly. Like, again, they had this shit in like Mesopotamia, some fucking 4,000 years ago. Right? Okay, maybe Native Americans didn't, but like the idea of trade, right? Not really between currency, but like, okay, we give you one thing, you give us one thing, or you give us one thing, we don't invade you. I mean, this has happened in the fucking Mongol Empire, right? When the fucking Mongols conquered all of China and tore their way to Europe. Like, people that capitulated and allowed the Mongols to, effectively conquer them, like, they prospered. Like, trade prospered vehement, like a good amount. Now, if you didn't, they butt fucked you. But if you did, you did good. Now, you as the average citizen had to pray your king didn't say no, and now you're forced to fight not only your own kingsmen, but the fucking Mongols. But yeah, like, other cultures and other countries on the other side of the planet in a completely different like time, like era, had this. Is it unnatural? I mean, sure, but it existed. Yeah, like every religion has this, like Buddha, Taoism, Christianity, Islam. They all say it's bad. Like, Usuri's bad in Christianity. Because again, before ideology was used to control empires and large swaths of people, it's people trying to understand the world and understand other humans. And some people got together and it's like, you know what them tax motherfuckers are doing, them banks and loan motherfuckers are doing is kind of bad. Giving money to people and expecting it back with interest like that, is a bad thing. Even if you can enforce it, because you don't really build strong relationships with that. Like down the road, you make enemies. I mean, we took a big fucking loan from the French in the fucking Civil War. But I mean, what is the French going to do nowadays? We want our money back. Cool. So does everybody else on the planet. What are you gonna do about it? Yeah, you can't go anywhere, you can't move anywhere. God forbid you don't pay your taxes, right? I mean, you are legitimately chained to a system. Like, people shit on the credit system of China. What about the credit system in America? Yeah, I guess they can't really technically, fuck you, but it's like, okay, you want to open up a business? Nope, sorry, you have a shit credit score. Or you need a loan for like hardship and stuff. I'm sorry, you can't. You have a low credit score, right? And you're getting taxed even more. Utilities are raising even more, and it's like you have no real out. Like, yeah, you eventually just sort of get quashed by it. Like, up until now, like everything he's saying is reasonable. I really don't know. Okay, it's not to the end yet. Oh. Oh, now I see. T- T- Tucker. See, I'm told I need to be more animated, like with my face, everything on my avatar. Like this is my attempt, right? You see the movement, the jiggle, the discontent. Tucker, Tuck, Tucker, Tucker, right? Look, and I guess my mindset, like, people don't really gel with it because everyone likes to look ideologically at things. But it's like you can't shit on this system, then turn around and be like, oh, hey, American financing, usury, here you go. I mean, people can tolerate a lot of fucking things, but no one really can tolerate a hypocrite, or at least no one takes them seriously. Tucker, everything you said up until this goofy shit, Tucker, like, I agreed with you. I thought you were, but now I can't take, like, I still agree with what you said, but now I can't take you personally seriously anymore. Tucker. But yeah, it's crazy to be enslaved at that rate. Be enslaved a little bit, but to Tucker, right? And it's like, Tucker, do you need to do this, right? I mean, when he branched away from Fox, he had a decent amount of following come with him. I mean, I don't know. Like, so I don't really, personally, I don't care if people decide to, do ads and shit on there, because you gotta make money, right? You're living in the system of the internet where, like on YouTube, right? It's not really YouTube anymore. It's CorpoTube. And, if you can make money off of doing ads or sponsors, I do a sponsor, whatever. But, my guy, like, what does comment say? I found Carlson's dictionary. Interest, the price of money on, usually the price of borrowing money, but Jewish bad. Got him! Tucker. It's just about a lot about the Jews. It's like, again, I personally now can't take you seriously. Not that it's required that you have me take you seriously, man, but like you've been saying, I still think you're right about all of this, but like you are probably not the right person to hear this from. Seeing that you do that, God, now you either die a hero or live long enough to become a villain. Literally going the same route as Ben Shapiro. Or like iDubbbz. Man, I don't know. I just fucking straight up be like, yeah, I mean, I still think it's bad, but it's an ad. Fuck off. I can respect that. I can respect, like, taking a stance. But I doubt you do. But anyway, man. Damn. That's all I gotta say about this. Peace out.